Now, we are just a couple of months away from the release of Star Wars The Mandalorian Season 3, in which it's really going to have a lot of connections and surprises to what's going to happen in the Ahsoka Tano series and beyond. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you also very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing that a lot of fans have been pretty much, attached to or just really engaged with is exactly what's been going on with Star Wars Legends returning into the Star Wars franchise and how that's going to be pretty much balanced out in the upcoming lore. Now, Favreau and Filoni have been a lot more talkative as of late, really revealing and teasing and hinting a lot of their plans and goals for the future of the franchise and where things are really going to go by Bob Iger and the Disney board members, and how Kathleen Kennedy is basically excluded from all projects except the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. Let's just be very well aware of that, is that those are the only two shows that she has control over, and not even 100% anymore. Now, the thing about John and Dave is that they're going to great lengths to really changing aspects of the sequel trilogy movies and even changing elements of the Skywalker saga as a whole. Now, we're going to be diving into exactly what this all entails, what it really means, and what Favreau recently had to say about it all. Now, the thing about Favreau is that he really wants to make sure that everything is going to have a reason for what he's doing. He's not the type of creator where he wants to throw in cameos or familiar locations just for the sake of doing it. There's got to be a reason behind it, right? When you look at how Ahsoka Tano comes into Mando Season 2, it was all for an actual purpose, and that's what I liked about it. So, moving on, alright? Now, with many new Star Wars TV shows currently in the works under Favreau and Filoni, Bob Iger is getting ready to make some key announcements for fans. Now, it's described, however, that both John and Dave are preparing to make drastic changes to the Star Wars universe in order to deliver many retcons to the franchise. Now, in a recent interview with Jon Favreau, he went on to discuss his plans for Star Wars Ahsoka and answered some questions. Favreau went on to state the following. Well, what we are planning to do with Star Wars Ahsoka is we have a couple of great ideas and strategies that we are utilizing right now in order to make some alterations to the sequel trilogy films. This way we can adjust the structure of the timeline in the franchise, And without giving anything away, I just want to say that Dave Filoni really is the mastermind behind all of this and how it's really all happening. And what we are trying to do with a potential Ahsoka Season 2 that we have been pitching to Disney and how it could change the events of the sequel films in, of course, a very surprising way for fans. Now, I want to just pause here quick for a second of what Favreau is saying. Now, we already know that he's been teasing the World Between Worlds many different times, not just for Ahsoka Season 1, but also for a potential Season 2. Again, they're trying their really best to making Ahsoka not a limited series, but turning it into a multi-season show. And to be honest, a show like Ahsoka deserves to be a multi-season show. If Mandalorian is, Ahsoka should be. The same exact thing, of course, should have went for Kenobi, which, by the way, they are still doing a soft reboot, where it's gonna be a Season 2, but not necessarily called a Season 2. It's not technically connected, but it kind of is. It's a very complex system when it comes to soft reboots. The thing about Ahsoka that I like so much is that it's very much embedded within the mythology of the franchise. The Jedi, the dark side, the light, good and evil, the Empire, Thrawn, all these crazy beloved things in the franchise. The Night Sisters are also going to be involved to an extent. We'll talk about that at another time, but Ahsoka really is considered to be the home run of the Disney Plus Star Wars shows. That's what Jon Favreau calls it. In fact, he openly said about a month ago that he believes that Ahsoka is going to surpass The Mandalorian. That's how well of a job Dave Filoni is doing. By the way, guys, if you like Dave Filoni, he is really the main guy working on this thing. Jon Favreau is just helping out. Dave Filoni is creating Ahsoka. If you like that episode of Luke and Book of Boba, that was Dave Filoni. If you like, of course, Ahsoka and Mando Season 2, that was Dave Filoni. Jon Favreau helped, yes, but Dave Filoni really was the guy that made all of that happen, frame by frame. On to the next thing now, alright? So, separate from all of this, and what Favreau stated, this is all alluding to a big plan by both Jon and Dave to use the world between worlds to change and or reset some of the events in the sequel trilogy. Now, this is a plan that is actively in the works and being helped by George Lucas as well in addition. It's said to be their way of changing moments in the sequels using the world between worlds. Now, we all know about the world between worlds. We saw this in Rebels Season 4. It is Dave Filoni's version of time travel. A lot of fans are going to have a lot of criticism over this in Star Wars Ahsoka, starting off with the major thing of how she is set to actually confront Anakin on Mustafar and taking Kenobi's place temporarily when they fight, only to find out that, for Anakin at least, nothing can be changed when it comes to his fate. So that's, of course, one of the lessons about the WBW is that not everything can be altered, not everything can be changed. And Jon and Dave are going to show us, in Star Wars Ahsoka Season 2, what they're trying to do, is what can or cannot be done in the WBW. That's what they want to make very specific. For example, you cannot change Anakin's fate or the Chosen One's fate. That is something to do with the WBW. That's what Ahsoka's going to learn for herself, and that's going to consider to be the lesson, so to speak. Now, the thing about Thrawn in the Ahsoka series is that it's all about hunting down Sabine Wren, Ahsoka Tano, Ezra Bridger. And we'll get to see a handful of new characters like Shin and Babylon, who Babylon, by the way, is a previous Jedi under Thrawn's leadership, and it's going to be a very interesting tale, so to speak, of Thrawn's forces in this post-return of the Jedi era. Again, as I said before, Jon Favreau wants to make Thrawn the Thanos of the Star Wars universe, and oddly, they kind of have like a similar nature when it comes to, just the way their mannerisms are and the way their attitude is. Very similar, in spirit, not necessarily looks, but in spirit, they're very similar characters to an extent. They're kind of like that middle point villain-esque character. Not quite as sinister as Palpatine, but, still, it's going to be a very interesting way to see how Disney's going to portray Thrawn in this new Ahsoka series, and how that's going to lead into Ahsoka Season 2. So, about resetting the sequels and really kind of retconning a lot of things using the WBW, this is happening. Favreau just hinted at it big time, and they want to make sure that it's going to be done correctly for the fans. That's the ultimate thing here. They want to do it right. They don't want to force it. It needs to make sense. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again. No.